What? What? Really? Okay.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome
What's happening?
to Cosmic Wonder. I'm Warren Thompson, and it looks like, for the time being, Sony and Marvel Studios are playing nice with each other. At least in one aspect of the MCU and one aspect of Spider-Man 4. It looks like they have agreed on one major thing to happen in Spider-Man 4, and that is that Miles Morales will make his MCU debut in the movie, which is incredibly exciting news. Now, it's still unsure on whether or not Sony really is going to push Marvel Studios to make Spider-Man 4 a big multiversal film, or if Marvel Studios will get their way and convince Sony.
See, I thought that they were going to bring in Miles to close out Peter's next trilogy. That's what I thought they were going to do. Maybe in the second movie or the third movie. You get what I'm saying? Because I think Tom was going to do another trilogy, right? That's what I was thinking. You know, you have him do his thing in the first one, and then he meets him, and he gets bit in the second one, and then in the third one he takes over at some point. Interesting.
Sony that Spider-Man 4 needs to be a more grounded superhero film, and unfortunately, it doesn't look like the inclusion of Miles Morales really confirms or denies any of these plot details that might happen for Spider-Man 4, because Miles Morales could be introduced in two different ways into Spider-Man 4. However, thanks to another report about Miles Morales in the MCU, it looks like we might have a little bit of insight on what Marvel Studios is planning for the future of Spider-Man and Miles Morales in the MCU prior to Secret Wars and then after Secret Wars. So we're going to break down it all in this video, so be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the latest Spider-Man news.
I want to know who
so
they
as it
want
turns out, Marvel Studios and Sony have pretty big plans for Miles Morales in the actual MCU. Not in the Sony Spider-Verse, but in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Okay.
They have plans to introduce Miles Morales in Spider-Man 4 and then plans after that. But first, let's start off with how he could enter Spider-Man 4. Now, like I mentioned, there are two different ways they could do this. One thing that you have to know if you haven't heard recently is that Sony and Marvel Studios are kind of butting heads right now.
Whatever you do, don't make them beta Miles like you did in the Spider-Man Miles Morales. I got that from all the fans that were like beta Miles in the comments. I was like, he is beta in this. It don't feel right. You know what I'm saying? So make him just a little... Well, you know what? I like him in the Spider-Verse. Just try to copy something similar to that. We don't need beta Miles.
Now about Spider-Man 4. Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios wanted the next Spider-Man film with Tom Holland, Spider-Man 4, to be a more grounded Spider-Man film. That's what they set up for Spider-Man No Way Home. Peter Parker is finally on his own. He's in his crummy little apartment with his police scanner, and he'll be fighting crime on the streets of New York City. Really grounded. A Spider-Man that a lot of us are very familiar with. And again, that was set up by No Way Home, which of course was done by Sony as well as Marvel Studios. But now, Sony came in and said, we want Spider-Man 4 to be a big multiversal Spider-Man film. Again, Spider-Man No Way Home was the most successful Spider-Man movie of all time. Let's essentially double down on that and do it again, but bigger. So that's where Sony and Marvel Studios are butting heads right now. Kevin Feige doesn't want to do that. He wants it to be grounded. Plus, Sony wants Spider-Man 4 to come out in 2025. And right now, Kevin Feige is reportedly way too busy and spread way too thin already. Working on a lot of projects, new ones and old ones that they are doing reshoots and
Yeah, he was never spread too thin. They were just slathering on the wokeness. That's what destroyed the franchise. Feige was doing just fine before they started doing all of that crap.
Reds for. And if Sony gets their way, then in 2025, Kevin Feige would have to push the Fantastic Four back to the end of 2025 and push Blade back to 2026, which he obviously doesn't want to do. But
I'll tell you this. I really don't care about the Fantastic Four at this point. However, I am seriously interested in Blade. So, yeah. How many fans are more interested in Blade than they are seeing the Fantastic Four? That's an interesting poll to put up.
But the good news is, at least they have agreed to bring Miles Morales into Spider-Man 4. So again, two different ways Miles could enter the MCU. One is that Sony gets their way, and Spider-Man 4 is yet another Spider-Man multiverse film. Miles Morales could be a variant. Now, this option is less likely. I don't believe that this Miles Morales in the MCU is going to be the same Miles Morales that is going to come over from the animated Spider-Verse, the one from the Into the Spider-Verse movies. I don't think that is going to be the case. But of course, that'd
be interesting if that did happen. We've seen movies where they would do that, like someone from a cartoon world comes into a human world, or someone from a human world goes into a cartoon world, and then the human changes in the cartoon, or the cartoon changes in the human. That would be interesting to see if that is the case.
Option, and you never really know what Sony is going to want, and we don't really know how Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse is going to play out. Some people speculate that Beyond the Spider-Verse actually means live action. And again, with Sony, you never really know. However, I still think that is less likely because we already have Miles Morales in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We haven't seen him yet, but he has been mentioned. A lot of you might remember Donald Glover.
Well, Jamie Foxx would say, what did he say? It's got to be a black Spider-Man somewhere. So, and we saw Donald Glover in there as the Prowler. I don't know how good of a Prowler he's going to make. I mean, I grew up with the Prowler. I remember my first time seeing the Prowler was Todd McFarlane's Prowler, and I was like, whoa. And then you see Spawn after that, which is heavily influenced by the Prowler design, the way he drew him. So, I don't know. I don't know if Donald can pull that off, but we'll see.
AKA the Childish Gambino, playing Prowler in Spider-Man Homecoming. Now, we didn't actually see Prowler, we just saw Aaron Davis, not in his Prowler outfit, but we of course know that Aaron Davis is the uncle to Miles Morales, and he did even mention that he has a nephew who lives around where they were. Confirming all the way back in Spider-Man Homecoming that Miles Morales does exist in the MCU. This is why the second option makes much more sense, because Miles has already existed in the MCU for some time. So introducing him would simply be he has to meet Peter Parker. And I think the setup here is pretty easy. They could both meet. Miles could meet Peter at Feast, Food Emergency Aid Shelter and Training, the place where Aunt May worked before she died in the last film, R.I.P. It's a homeless shelter that May used to work at and where Miles Morales volunteers. So Miles Morales is already there, and since it was a place of great importance to Aunt May, one could assume that Peter Parker would go on and he would volunteer at Feast in remembrance of her since she is gone now. And that is where he could meet Miles Morales. Now, if Miles Morales already has his Spider-Man powers, because who knows what they're going to go with as far as his story in the MCU, then Spider-Man and Miles Morales should both have their spider senses tingling, or Peter gets his Peter tingle, whatever you want to call it. And they both should realize that they both are Spider-Man. They both have some of the same powers. And from here, an insanely cool friendship.
Gonna be a lot more special effects needed for Miles with all that damn lightning. I know that.
Should start. And hopefully a mentorship should start with Peter Parker mentoring Miles Morales. Now, the report of Miles Morales appearing in Spider-Man 4 is coming from Daniel RPK, who stated,
once they started giving Miles electricity and all that sort of stuff, I was wondering, what in the hell does that have to do with a spider? I get the whole agility. I get web spinning, whether it's coming from here or you're just making it so that you can, the agility, the heightened senses and strength. I get that. The spider sense, when I was a kid, I really thought of, because I watched Discovery Channel all the time, I always thought of it as similar to how spiders have, sometimes they'll have several eyes all over their face. And I have 3 eyes, and I have 9 eyes, you know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, with that many eyes, you can see in different directions and know what could be coming at you. So I thought of it like that. Later on, when I started YouTube, people were saying, some people think it's kind of similar how spiders can feel the trembling in their web and know if something is afoot near them. And I was like, okay, that's interesting too. But the whole lightning thing, I even get the invisible because, certain, spiders are, camouflage so they can, I get that. But the lightning, I don't get that. The venom sting, whatever.
Amy Pascal and Kevin Feige are planning to introduce Miles Morales in Spider-Man 4. But he also did say this: the live-action Miles Morales films will take place in the MCU, which again is another great thing because when they announced that they were going to make a live-action Miles Morales movie, and in case you missed it, yes, Amy Pascal did already confirm they are making a live-action Miles Morales film, but this confirms that it's going to be in the MCU because we had no idea if this was going to be a part of Sony's other Spider-Man kind of related universe, or if Marvel Studios was going to get to use him in the MCU. And now, according to this report, we know. Now, Amy Pascal did say recently, when asked when we are going to be getting that live-action Miles Morales movie, she did say they have to make 2 other films first, referring to Spider-Man.
It almost don't matter if he's going to be in 4. Like, I wanted a Spider-Man movie, but the fact that he showed up in Captain America Civil War was great. It was like, I really didn't need one, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? As long as I was saying them.
Beyond the Spider-Verse and Spider-Man 4 in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which now makes a lot of sense because we know that Spider-Man 4 will introduce Miles Morales to the MCU, so of course they can't have their own Miles Morales movie until he's introduced. Now, of course, and this is kind of sad, but it does seem like they're doing this so Miles Morales can take over as Spider-Man in the MCU once Peter Parker and Tom Holland move on. From what we know, Tom Holland signed a contract for 3 more Spider-Man solo films, Spider-Man titled films, and then 3 Spider-Man team-up films. Right? Of course, 2 of these are the next 2 Avengers movies coming out, and we don't actually know the 6th one yet. We believe it could be maybe in Daredevil Born Again, maybe Captain America Brave New World, but we're not actually sure at this point. But the point of that is, ultimately, after the Multiverse Saga and in the next saga of the MCU, we'll have 2 more Spider-Man films, Spider-Man 5 and Spider-Man 6, and then Tom Holland is most likely going to move on, and Peter Parker with him. And that'll leave Miles Morales as the new Spider-Man in the MCU, which is really cool because we're going to see Miles Morales and Peter Parker interact with each other a lot, hopefully, in all 3 Spider-Man films that are to come. Hopefully in each one we start to see Peter Parker training Miles Morales in how to become Spider-Man, how to become better, how to use his powers, how to be a hero, and of course build up to the 2 of them fighting together. This also...
Yeah, one thing that I'm thinking about is if they do something like that, like, Tom doesn't even seem seasoned yet as Spider-Man. Does he? He doesn't, right? Doesn't seem seasoned. He's just now on his own. So I think they're going to have to cover some ground with him and make him feel like he either needs a vacation or something. I don't think they should kill him. Depending on how they tell the story, I don't think they should kill him because Tom's Spider-Man seems so wet behind the ears. Still, he's moved to the next level. He did all that stuff. He cured everybody. In the last one, he's by himself. Now, at the end, we need a full-fledged him on his own without needing any help, taking out, doing some stuff, and feeling mature and seasoned. You know what I'm saying? Might need 2 of those movies before you make that switch. It'd be interesting to see how they do it.
Also means that perhaps Miles Morales could take part in the events around Avengers Secret Wars. And here's the deal. Since Sony wants Spider-Man 4 to be a big multiversal film and obviously bring the other Spider-Man back into the film, this means that they are probably open to bringing some characters from their Spider-Verse adjacent universe over into the MCU for Secret Wars, which does mean perhaps the animated Miles Morales could jump over into live action in Secret Wars momentarily. I mean, after all, we did get Aaron Davis, Prowler, Childish Gambino playing that role in live action.
By the way, I noticed this, and a few other YouTubers noticed this, and a few people have made videos about it. But what in the hell is it with giving every black dude the Killmonger haircut? What the hell is that? Why are y'all wearing that out? Like, I can't even find a cool faux hawk or South of France or something when I'm looking to you know what I'm saying, to put it on a character. They'll have it for the white dudes. You know what I'm saying? We need a all even. We need a fade. We need a faux hawk or South of France. We need an afro. We need dreads. And not the comb over dreads. You know what I mean? Maybe some regular ones like that, or maybe some you know what I mean, some tied up ones long in the back. Something, man. Trying to think of what other haircuts. But come on, man. Help us out. Cause some of the black dude haircuts y'all don't have nothing good.
The animated universe. That was in Across the Spider-Verse, if anybody missed that. But that also means perhaps we could get characters like Venom, and I say this as a meme, but Morbius. And maybe it'll even help explain what the heck is going on with that Sony Spider-Man adjacent universe. The good news about all of this is that we are finally going to get Miles Morales in the MCU. It sounds like Peter Parker is going to be his mentor, and ultimately Miles will be the new and only Spider-Man
is that
in the
a fan?
once Tom
I don't
Holland
know
is
who
done
that is
as
taking
Peter
a picture
Parker.
with
And the
him.
good news on top of that is it does sound like Sony and Marvel are at least agreeing on some things. Perhaps Spider-Man 4 has not been agreed upon yet, whether it's going to be a big multiverse film or a grounded film, but at least they have agreed that Miles Morales is going to be in the film, and I am super excited for Miles to be in the MCU. But go ahead and let me know your thoughts about this in the comments down below. Do you have a theory on how he could appear?
Well. Thank you very much for that Cosmic Wonder. Make sure you get over there and subscribe to him. Tell him Tyrone, Magnus sent you. I'm excited about this. I'm wondering if what they're going to do is just introduce him. Miles Morales. You know, when you hear that, you're thinking, oh, we're going to see him as Spider-Man. We might not see him as Spider-Man, but they'll introduce him. Get it? That's what I'm thinking. Post comments down below. Let me know what you think about this news. Too soon? Let me know. I think it could be too soon. 10 million subscribers.